Okay, Chris Messina, also Factory Joe. I was wondering if you could tell me about your new gig.
Sure. So I have a new job as of this month. It's May, and I am working at a startup called Hadoop. They're currently based out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, of all places. They're going to be moving their 40 people up to Portland soon, and I'm actually going to be starting up a San Francisco office. And my job there is actually a very interesting and exciting job. I'm going to be working on a project that me and some friends started in December called DiSo, basically short for distributed social networking. And they've hired me basically to just work full-time on this open source project.
Okay, well tell me about DiSo.
So the notion behind DiSo, or distributed social networking, is kind of I guess, an answer to what I've seen coming out of Google and Facebook lately, where they have a certain view of the social web. They're driving a lot of real interesting innovation around it, but one of the problems is that a lot of the technology has to either reside with or be compatible with the ways in which they see the world. And what I'd like to do is provide an alternative means of supporting a lot of the same concepts, but doing it in a way that's distributed, so that anybody who runs their own blog can participate in social networking type activities, but not necessarily have to outsource their friends list, their contacts list, their data, what have you, to those kind of companies. And I think, in general, this is actually a good thing for Google, for Facebook, for all those folks, simply because it increases competition and it allows for people to use basic building blocks of social networks to solve basic problems of social networking.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you to spell it out a little bit more. So
Sure.
Let's put it in terms of, you know, me. I have a blog. How could I integrate DiSo once it's sort of up and really going?
So what we're starting with, and I'll just sort of use the technology terms very briefly, but we are building plugins right now for WordPress, and the plugins to date will offer OpenID consuming, so people can sign into your site using an identity that they have elsewhere. You can use your blog as an identity. You'll be able to discover services that your friends are advertising on their identities. You'll be able to then authorize those friends who are coming to your site to do certain things either on your behalf or with your private data, things like that. So for example, a very simple example could be you want to allow for your friends to see the private photos that you've just added to your blog, from this past weekend. Well, if, let's say, your friends haven't joined Facebook, haven't joined Google, but they have their own blog. Let's say they even have a WordPress.com blog. Well, it turns out that they actually have OpenIDs already. So they can actually log into your blog, which maybe you host at, your own website. And you've given them permissions by adding them to your log roll, let's say, to see these private photos. So they log into your site, now they can see things that they couldn't see before. You're hosting all those photos, so it's all on your own website, and they didn't have to create accounts anywhere else. So we actually have that more or less built today, or at least we're getting to that point. So that's the start. I mean, again, we only started this project in December. We're utilizing technologies like OpenID, microformats, OAuth, a discovery protocol called XRDS, which is just a discovery language, and we hope to also support a chat messaging protocol called XMPP, which is what Gtalk uses.
Right. Very cool, Chris. That is some gnarly stuff. I'm excited to see that in full form.
So yeah, hopefully in the next several months we'll actually have more to show. I don't like to, tout it too much before we've actually got something interesting, but we actually have people working on plugins right now. So the hope is to start with WordPress and then build support for Drupal and movable type, and then start offering plugins for Rails and Django and things like that. So people should be able to run whatever they choose to without necessarily having to build for some other stack that they're unfamiliar with.
And where can we watch this progress?
Right now we're on diso-project.org.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks.